गुरुवे श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती नामिने श्रीवार्षभानुवे देवे दायिताय कृपाब्दे कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञानदायिने प्रभवे नमः माधुरोज्ज्वलप्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिद श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुगविरुद्ध अपसिद्धान्तद्वान्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बरसाम्बोधे पादाम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दरामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते गौराविर्भावभूमिस्त्वं निर्दिष्टसज्जनप्रिया वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरवत्से नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते जयतां सुरतौ पङ्गोर्मो मन्दमतिर्गते मत्सर्वस्व पादाम्भोजो राधामदनमोहनौ दिव्याद्वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमादः श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमद् राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवो पृष्ठालिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भी वंशीवटतटस्थित कर्षन् वेणु सुनिर्गोपेर्गोपीनाथः श्रीयत्सुनः तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Yes. So we'll start today. So we'll stopped here. What is this consciousness? So if you remember, yeah, is this visible to everyone?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. And the PPT?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, I think we had completed till here yesterday. God as a controller behind the creation. The analogy how all the parts of the body they can be happy when they feed the stomach, right? As soon as they feed the stomach, all the parts and parcels also receive energy, and that's how they can become happy. Similarly, Krishna is the root of all the creation, so if we serve him, please him, then we can also, all the living entities can also be happy. So we are meant for cooperating with him, right? So same thing, this consciousness falls to go, and this example is just we will I just complete this. So in this, Prabhupada is explaining further that what is this consciousness? Prabhupada is telling that this consciousness means I am, right? So then what am I or what I am? So in contaminated consciousness, we think, or this I am means I am the creator and I am the enjoyer, right? But in purified consciousness, I am means I am servant of Krishna, I am servant of devotees, right? So contaminated consciousness, one thinks that I am the Lord of all I survey, I am the creator, I am the enjoyer, right? But actually, who is actually the creator and the enjoyer? Prabhupada explains that the Supreme Lord is actually the creator and the enjoyer, right? And what we are then, we are actually created and enjoyed, created by Krishna for his enjoyment. We are created and we are supposed to be enjoyed by Krishna. So that position we should accept, and we should understand that I am not the creator, I am not the enjoyer, I am not the Lord of all I survey, but actually I am created, I am enjoyed. So I should try to just become a cooperator instead of trying to become the enjoyer, trying to become the cooperator. Further, Prabhupada explains, gives examples of analogies. Just like a part of the machine can be happy, part of the machine, what is its function? Part of the machine is basically to help in the entire overall functioning of the machine. If the part of machine gets separated from the machine itself, right? So it will not have any value. Prabhupada tells that if a screw or a nut of Mercedes Benz is with Mercedes Benz, then it has value. But as soon as it falls down, right, it doesn't have any value, because if you want to purchase any part of Mercedes Benz, it is very, very costly. But as soon as it falls down, nobody will know that actually it is a part of Mercedes Benz. So similarly, part of a machine or part of a body, and similarly, we, part and parcels of Krishna, we can all be happy by cooperating with the desires of the Supreme Lord. But as soon as we want to separately enjoy for Krishna, then we become frustrated. So we discussed this example yesterday also, that the parts of the entire part, all the parts of the body can be happy by satisfying the stomach, right? If they think that why I should satisfy the stomach, I only will eat. If the hand thinks, if the legs think, if the head think that I only will eat the food, so that will not give the nourishment. The food will get wasted, and they will also be frustrated in that particular action. But if they satisfy the stomach, then if they feed the stomach, then the stomach is satisfied and they will also be satisfied. So Prabhupada tells here that similarly, the Supreme Lord is the enjoyer and the creator, and we as subordinate living entities are meant to cooperate to satisfy him. So if we do this, what happens is, by cooperation, they enjoy. By cooperation, we enjoy. The parts and parcels enjoy. So another example Prabhupada gives is, so by cooperation, what happens is, we become satisfied, we enjoy, we become happy. Another example Prabhupada gives is that of a master and a servant. So if the servant satisfies the master, if the master becomes fully satisfied, then the servant also becomes fully satisfied. Similarly, if the Supreme Lord is satisfied, then all the parts and parcels living in it is also be satisfied. So lastly, in this paragraph, Prabhupada tells that similarly, the Supreme Lord should be satisfied. Although the tendency to become creator and tendency to enjoy the material world are there also in the living entities, because these tendencies are there in Supreme Lord who has created the manifested cosmic world. So our main duty is to satisfy the Supreme Lord. By that, we can be happy. Although there is a tendency to be creator enjoyer, we should keep that aside. We should not listen to our mind. Instead, we should try to satisfy the Supreme Lord. So finally, Prabhupada winds up this particular section by telling that what is a complete whole? The complete whole is comprised of Supreme Controller, controlled living entities, right? Ishvara, Jiva, the cosmic manifestation, the Prakriti, eternal time, Kala, and Karma. So this all entire things comprises of the complete whole. And all this is explained in this particular text of the Bhagavad Gita. All of these taken completely form the complete whole, and the complete whole is called the Supreme Absolute Truth. So the complete whole and the complete Absolute Truth are the complete Supreme Personality of Lord Shri Krishna. So all manifestations are due to his energies. He is the complete whole. So this completes this particular section, right? So we'll move on to the next section, where Prabhupada further describes the three levels of realization of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Now, in the last paragraph, Prabhupada told what is Supreme Absolute Truth, what is the complete Absolute Whole. Now, Prabhupada is explaining about the three levels of realization. So, there are three levels of realization of the Supreme Absolute Truth. That is Bhagavan, Paramatma, and Brahman. Right? So, we know that Supreme Personality of Godhead is Satchidananda, right? There are he has basically three features, or that is eternity, knowledge, and bliss. So, Prabhupada explains in the purport that Bhagavan feature means realization of all the three features: eternity, knowledge, and bliss. This is a complete realization, Satchidananda, right? Whereas Paramatma realization comprises of what? Comprises of only eternity and knowledge. And whereas the Brahman feature comprises of only Sat feature, or the realization of the eternity. So Bhagavan means Satchidananda, Paramatma means Satchid, and Brahman means Sat, right? So what is Brahman? Prabhupada explains the purport that Brahman basically means that just like a sun is there and there are sun rays. So Prabhupada also explains to explain this in other of his purports. Prabhupada explains to explain this Bhagavan, Paramatma, and Brahman feature. Prabhupada gives analogy of the sun god, the sun planet, and the sun rays. These three things, right? So sun god, Prabhupada explains, is like Bhagavan, and then the sun, localized sun planet, it is at one particular place, is a Paramatma, and the sun rays that are manifesting from the sun god or manifesting from the sun planet is basically Brahman. So Brahman is nothing but the effulgent rays that are emanating from the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So through the body of Sri Krishna, right, there are effulgent rays that are emanating, and that is nothing but the Brahman. And what is Paramatma? The Supreme Personality of Godhead is sitting in everyone's heart as a localized Paramatma. He is present in everyone's heart as the Paramatma. So Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are the three levels of realization, and each level has a particular feature to realize. Bhagavan means Satchidananda realization, Paramatma means Sat and Chit, and Brahman means Sat realization. So here it is mentioned, the Lord is Satchidananda Vigraha, Brahma Samhita, Govinda Krishna is the call of all causes. Impersonal Brahman is compared to the rays of sunshine, a partial realization. The complete realization is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is what is explained here. If you see here, in this paragraph, Prabhupada explains this about impersonal Brahman. Here Prabhupada is explaining that in Brahmano hi pratishtaham, here it is mentioned, right? So it means what? That Krishna is the basis of Brahman, or Brahman is also subordinate to the complete Supreme Person. So here Prabhupada is explaining that Brahman is more explicitly explained in the Brahma Sutra to be the like the rays of the sunshine, which we already discussed. The impersonal Brahman is the shining rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Impersonal Brahman is incomplete realization of absolute whole, and so also is the conception of Paramatma. So finally, Prabhupada winds up this particular paragraph telling that impersonal Brahman realization is the realization of his Sat feature, Paramatma realization is the realization of his Satchit, and Supreme Personality of Godhead is the realization of Satchit Ananda, which we already discussed, right? Yes. So somebody can read this from here. Since these are the basics, so already we know these things, that's why I just explained. So somebody can continue from here. Yes, Meghna Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji, people with less intelligence consider the supreme truth to be impersonal, but he is a transcendental person, and this is confirmed in all Vedic literatures. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Katha Upanishad. As we are all individual living beings and have our individuality, the supreme absolute truth is also in the ultimate issue. A person, and realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all of the transcendental features in his complete form. The complete whole is not formless. If he is formless, or if he is less than any other thing, then he cannot be the complete whole. The complete whole must have everything within our experience and beyond our experience. Otherwise, it cannot be complete.
Yeah, very important point to note that if we tell that we have form and the Supreme Lord doesn't have any form, So then he cannot be the complete whole. Therefore, Prabhupada is telling that if we have forms, then complete whole cannot be formless, right? So if he is formless, then he cannot be the complete whole. The complete whole must have everything that we have within our experience and beyond our experience. Otherwise, he cannot be the complete. Yes, continue, Mataji.
The complete whole personality of Godhead has immense potencies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. How Krishna is acting in different potencies is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. This phenomenal world or material world in which we are placed is also complete in itself, because the 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation according to Samkhya philosophy are completely adjusted to produce complete resources which are necessary for the maintenance and subsistence of this universe. There is nothing extraneous, nor is there anything needed. This manifestation has its own time fixed by the energy of the Supreme Whole, and when its time is complete, these temporary manifestations will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete. There is complete facility for the small complete units, namely the living entities, to realize the complete, and all sorts of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete. So, Bhagavad Gita contains the complete knowledge of Vedic wisdom.
Yeah. So I think you have come across this particular point in Ishopanishad also, that all sorts of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete, right? So Prabhupada is telling that Krishna is such a creator that he has made this material world. If somebody looks at it, it appears that it is independently working. So Krishna has made it so complete, right? That it appears that the universe is functioning independently, right? But it is not, as we have seen in previous class, that the supreme, only a child who doesn't have knowledge thinks by after seeing a motor car that it is running independently. But a person in knowledge of the absolute truth understands that this material world is not functioning independently, but it is mayadakshena prakriti. It is all working under the supervision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So hope you know about this 24 elements, this Sankhya philosophy 24 elements, how this material world is made up of these 24 elements. We will be studying it in Srimad Bhagavatam in the Bhakti Vaibhav course, but hopefully you know what are these 24 elements. Somebody can tell me what are these 24 elements?
Prabhuji, 5 sense organs and 5 this karmendriya and 5 sense organs and mind, intelligence, ego, and 5 this earth, water, fire, air, and all this comes under.
So 5 sense organs are what? What are the 5 sense organs? Hare Krishna. Abhishek too. So somebody can tell me these 24 elements. If you know, you can tell. If you don't know, then we can discuss. I'll just mention those. We can note it down. 24 elements. Somebody knows the 24 elements? Okay. So first is, our body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, the Panch Mahabhuta, right? This is the Panch Mahabhuta first. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, Bhumi, Apo, Analo, Vayu, Kham, Mano, Buddhi, Revacha. Then after this 5 Panch Mahabhuta, then there is 3 subtle elements, 5 gross elements, 3 subtle elements, which is mind, intelligence, and false ego. And then, as Abhishek Pro was explaining, then there is 5 karmendriyas and 5 jnanendriyas. So this makes it total 18, right? So what are the 5 karmendriyas and 5 jnanendriyas? 5 karmendriyas are your basically tongue, right? And then there is hands, legs, genitals, and the rectum. So these are the 5 karmendriyas, and 5 jnanendriyas are eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and the skin. So these are 5 Gyanendriyas. Gyanendriyas are basically through which we acquire knowledge, and Karmendriyas are by which we basically perform the activities, or we perform any work, right? So this makes it total 18. So then there is Pancha Mahabhut, then there is 5 gross elements, 3 subtle elements, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Gyanendriyas. Anything else? Somebody remembers?
Prabhuji, mind
Mind is already there, na? 5 subtle elements.
mind No, Prabhuji, mind we add extra now, Prabhuji. Mind, body, mind, intelligence, ego.
Mind is calculated already, done. Mind is done. 5 subtle elements is done.
Prabhuji, 24th element is soul, na?
Yeah, it is considered as soul. Some do not consider it soul. There are many things there.
Prabhuji, Shabda, Rupa, Rasa, Sparsha, Gandha, 5 subjects.
Yeah. So 5 subjects of the five sense organs, that is Shabda, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, right? For all these 5, this thing, what is that? 5, whatever sense organs are there, or 5 Jnanendriyas are there. There is, what is that? There are 5 subjects. For eyes, there is Rupa, right? And for ears, there is the hearing, right? Shabda, Rupa, Sparsha, Rasa, Gandha. Shabda for the ears, Rupa for the eyes, Rasa for the tongue, Sparsha for the skin, and Gandha for the nose. So these are the 5 subjects of the what is that? Jnanendriyas. So this makes it 23. And now the 24th is contaminated consciousness. Some in Srimad Bhagavatam, we study Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many interpretations of the 24th element. Some consider it the soul, some consider it as contaminated consciousness, right? But because the 24 elements is what makes the material world, and soul cannot be part of the material world, therefore the 24th element is the contaminated consciousness. So these are 24 elements of which the material world is made up of, right? So this you will be studying in detail in 2nd and 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So there you will come across this, how the material world is gradually developed into by the formation of these 24 elements. Yes, Mataji, can you continue further?
Yes, Prabhuji. All Vedic knowledge is infallible, and Hindus accept Vedic knowledge to be complete and infallible. For example, cow dung is the stool of an animal, and according to Smriti or Vedic injunction, if one touches the stool of an animal, he has to take a bath to purify himself. But in the Vedic scriptures, cow dung is considered to be a purifying agent. One might consider this to be contradictory, but it is accepted because it is Vedic injunction, and indeed by accepting this, one will not commit a mistake. Subsequently, it has been proved by modern science that cow dung contains all antiseptic properties. So Vedic knowledge is complete because it is above all doubts and mistakes. And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge.
So here Prabhupada is telling basically that how Vedic knowledge is infallible, and because Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge, so it is also infallible. So we should accept it as it is. For that, Prabhupada gave an example of cow dung, right? Yes.
Vedic knowledge is not a question of research. Our research work is imperfect because we are researching things with imperfect senses. We have to accept perfect knowledge which comes down as is stated in Bhagavad Gita by the Parampara, disciplic succession. We have to receive knowledge from the proper source in disciplic succession, beginning with the Supreme Spiritual Master, the Lord Himself, and handed down to a succession of spiritual masters. Arjuna, the student who took lessons from Lord Sri Krishna, accepts everything that he says without contradicting him. One is not allowed to accept one portion of Bhagavad Gita and not another. No, we must accept Bhagavad Gita without interpretation, without deletion, and without our own whimsical participation in the matter. The Gita should be taken as the most perfect presentation of Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge is received from transcendental sources, and the first words were spoken by the Lord Himself. The words spoken by the Lord are called Aparushaya, meaning that they are different from words spoken by a person of a mundane world who is infected with 4 defects. A mundaner is sure to commit mistakes, is invariably illusion, has the tendency to cheat others, and is limited by imperfect senses. With these 4 imperfections, one cannot deliver perfect information of all pervading knowledge.
Yeah. So since we imperfect living entities, or we living entities of the material world have these 4 defects, how can you remember these 4 defects? First you have to understand that since we are in the material world, we have imperfect senses. The first point is we have imperfect senses. So because we have imperfect senses, right? This we discuss in the discovery of self in the first session itself, that because we have imperfect senses, so whatever knowledge we pursue through this, right, either through Anuman Praman or Pratyaksha Praman, right, that knowledge will be imperfect, right? So imperfect senses We have first imperfection is that we have imperfect senses, and because we have imperfect senses, there is a tendency that we become illusioned, right? Invariably illusioned. We get illusioned, right? And because we fall under illusion, therefore we commit mistakes. And because we commit mistakes, and to hide that mistakes, what we do, we cheat others, right? So in case of scientific knowledge also, you can see that the theories keep on changing because of imperfect senses. Therefore they get illusion, therefore they give one theory now, and after some 2-3 years the theory changes, and after 3-4 years their theory changes, right? So therefore they get illusioned. They think like that this can be the source of the world, this can be the source of the world, therefore they get illusioned, and they produce a particular theory which is actually a mistake. And to cover up those mistakes, what they do, Prabhupada gives example of Darwin, how to cover up his mistake, he basically used something called as the skull of a ape, and below there was a skull, below it the skull was made up of iron, right? So this the scientists try to cheat others, and they want to prove that they know, right? But actually a person with imperfect senses cannot have perfect knowledge, right? But because Krishna is beyond these 4 defects, because he is the supreme personality of Godhead, he is not a creation of this mundane world, right? Therefore the knowledge that he gives is apaurushya, which is beyond the 4 defects. Therefore, if we accept the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, therefore Prabhupada is telling that we must accept Bhagavad Gita without interpretation, without deletion, and without our own whimsical participation in the matter, right? Do not bring your mind, senses, and intelligence. Try to understand the Bhagavad Gita through your intelligence, but don't try to challenge the Bhagavad Gita with your intelligence, right? So Prabhupada is telling that we should accept Bhagavad Gita in toto, in full, not it's not that we accept one portion of the Bhagavad Gita and we do not accept another. So somebody who is a karmi accepts only the karma yoga part of Bhagavad Gita and rejects the bhakti yoga part. No, you have to accept Bhagavad Gita as it is, in full, in toto, right? So not that Prabhupada explains the example of Ardha Kukutinai. Ardha Kukutinai means because the back portion of the hen gives me eggs, what I'll do, I'll cut the front portion. The front portion eats, right? So therefore, I have to invest money to feed the chicken or feed the hen, and the back portion gives me what I need, the eggs, right? So what I'll do, I'll cut the front portion and I'll just keep the back portion. Then what will happen is the hen will die. Similarly, we cannot accept one portion of Gita which I feel is good, and I cannot reject the another portion of Bhagavad Gita which I don't feel good. The Bhagavad Gita should be accepted in toto, then only we will benefit from that particular knowledge, right? Yes, continue, Mataji.
Vedic knowledge is not imparted by such defective living entities. It was imparted unto the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma in his turn disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples, as he originally received it from the Lord. The Lord is Purna, all perfect, and there is no possibility of his becoming subjected to the laws of material nature. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that the Lord is the only proprietor of everything in the universe, and that he is the original creator, the creator of Brahma. In the 11th chapter, the Lord is addressed as Prapitamaha, because Brahma is addressed as Pitamaha, the grandfather, and he is the creator of the grandfather. So no one should claim to be the proprietor of anything. One should accept only those things which are set aside for him by the Lord as his quota for his maintenance.
Yes, you have already heard this particular line that we should accept that which is set aside for us as a quota in the Upanishad itself, right? Continue.
There are many examples given of how we are to utilize those things which are set aside for us by the Lord. This is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, Kurukshetra. This was his own decision. Arjuna told the Lord that it was not possible for him to enjoy the kingdom after killing his own kinsman. This decision was based on the body because he was thinking that the body was himself and that his bodily relations or expansions were his brothers, nephews, brothers-in-law, grandfathers, and so on. Therefore, he wanted to satisfy his bodily demands. Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Lord just to change this view, and at the end, Arjuna decides to fight under the directions of the Lord when he says, Karishe Vachanam Tava, I shall act according to your word.
Yes. So even in our life also, many times we are torn apart between what our mind is telling and what Guru is telling, right? So Arjuna also initially at the beginning of the battle of Kurukshetra, right? He was acting, he wanted to act according to what his mind was telling, that this is not good. He was giving 6 reasons why he should not fight this battle of Kurukshetra, right? But ultimately Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to him because Arjuna surrendered. Arjuna told that Arjuna told that actually I'm confused and I completely surrender into you. Then Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. So similarly, when we are confused, what we should do is about what path we should choose or how we should go ahead in life. Then what we should do, we should take shelter of our Guru's instructions, right? Guru's lectures are there, Prabhupada's books are there, devotees are there to guide us. So just like Arjuna took shelter of Krishna, similarly we should take shelter of devotees or our gurus. We should hear our guru's lectures or we should read Prabhupada books regularly, right? And then that confusion will not come about what is my duty or what path I should choose at this particular point of my life, right? So instead of listening to your mind, because mind is contaminated, our consciousness is contaminated, so they may lead us on the wrong path. But if we regularly hear from a guru, regularly hear from Prabhupada, regularly associate with devotees, come in the association of devotees, then what will happen is we may not get confused, we will not get confused about what is our duty, right? Yes. Somebody else can continue ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, may I?
Yeah. Yes, Mataji. Yes.
In this word, men are not mean for quarreling like cats and dogs. Men must be intelligent to realize the importance of human life and refuse to act like ordinary animals. A human being should realize the aims of his life, and this direction is given in all Vedic literatures, and the essence is given in Bhagavad Gita. Vedic literatures is meant for human beings, not for animals. Animals can kill other living animals, and there is no question of sins or their part. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his own uncontrolled taste, he must be responsible for the breaking the laws of nature. In Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly explained that there are 3 kinds of activities according to the different modes of nature. The activities of goodness, of passion, and of ignorance. Similarly, there are 3 kinds of eatables also. Eatables in goodness, passion, and ignorance. All of this is clearly described, and if we properly utilize the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, then our whole life will become purified. And ultimately, we will be able to reach the destination which is beyond this material sky. Yat gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. That
So
destination.
if we utilize the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, what will happen? Our life will become purified and then we will become fit to reach back home, back to Godhead. Yes, continue, Mataji.
The destination is called the Sanatan sky, the eternal spiritual sky. In this material world, we find that everything is temporary. It comes into being, stays for some time, produces some byproducts, dwindles, and then vanishes.
Yeah,
That
so
is the law.
these are the 6. You must be knowing this already, that these are the 6 changes of anything in this material world. What is that? It comes into being, stays for some time, produces some byproducts, dwindles, and then vanishes. So please make a note of this. What are the 6 changes of anything in this material world? Either the body or any object if we take, it undergoes the 6 changes. Yeah, continue, Mataji.
That is the law of material world. Whether we use an example, this body, or a piece of a fruit or anything, but beyond this temporary world, there is another world of which we have information. That world consists of another nature, which is Sanatan, eternal. The Jiva is also described as Sanatan, eternal, and the Lord is also described as Sanatana. In the 11th chapter, we have an intimate relationship with the Lord, and because we are all qualitatively one, the Sanatan Sanatan
Dham.
Dharma or sky, the Sanatan supreme personality, and the Sanatan living entities. The whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to revive our Sanatan occupation or Sanatan Dharma, which is the eternal occupation of the living entity. We are temporarily engaged in the different activities, but all of these activities can be purified when we give up all these temporary activities and take up to the activities which are prescribed by the Supreme Lord. That is called our pure life.
Yes. So Prabhupada now in the following paragraphs, 2-3 paragraphs, Prabhupada explains about Sanatan Dharma and what is actually meant by Sanatan Dharma. Is it sectarian? Is it only Hindu Dharma is called as Sanatan Dharma, or what is actually Sanatan Dharma, and whom it is meant for, and what is this religion, and what is Hindu religion, what is this Muslim religion, what kind of dharma it is, and what dharma means. And Prabhupada further explains that what actually is the Sanatan Dharma of every living entity. That Prabhupada explains in this following paragraph. So just we'll see this one slide and we'll come back. So we completed this. We also completed this, how Vedic knowledge is infallible and how there is a tendency to become illusion. We have 4 mistakes. Therefore, the knowledge that human beings give is fallible or it is incomplete, right? So the Sanatan Dharma or the eternal religion, Prabhupada explains in the following paragraphs that the word religion conveys faith which may change. So religion can convey the meaning that it is faith, and the faith can change, right? Faith, I can have faith in some person today, in some country, and some this thing today, and I may change. But Sanatan Dharma is actually eternal, and it cannot change, right? Sanatan Dharma refers to that which has neither beginning nor end, so and cannot be changed. So this neither beginning nor end, this definition is given by Sripad Ramanujacharya. So Sanatan Dharma is that which has neither beginning nor end and that cannot be changed. So Prabhupada gives examples like, just like from fire you cannot remove heat and light, just like from liquid or water you cannot remove liquidity, just like from salt you cannot remove saltiness, or just like from sugar you cannot remove the sweetness. Similarly, what is Sanatan Dharma? Sanatan Dharma is that function of the living entity which cannot be separated from the living entity. That is that its eternal function, or is its eternal dharma, right? So just as liquidity cannot be removed from water, heat cannot be removed from fire, the eternal function of the living entity cannot be removed from the living entity. So in the further paragraphs, Prabhupada explains then what is that Sanatan Dharma. So he gives reference of Sanatan Goswami or Sanatan Shiksha that is mentioned in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, right, wherein Lord Chaitanya explains to Sanatan Goswami what is the Sanatan Dharma. The Lord replied that the constitutional position of the living being is the rendering of service to the Supreme Personality Godhead. Service is the constant companion of every living being, the eternal religion of the living being. Sanatan Dharma is therefore not sectarian, it is a business of all living entities of the universe. So here in the further paragraphs, Prabhupada explains that we can see that servant serves his master, right? A child serves his parents, parents serve his child, husband serves his wife, wife serves his husband, right? And the prime minister serves the country, and the citizens of the country serve the prime minister or serve the country. So everywhere a cat serves the master and the master serves the cat, dog serves the master and master serves the dog. So everywhere you can see that there is, even among animals, there is this dependency of service among living entities. So this, what is that? Religions may change. Today I am Hindu, tomorrow I am a Muslim, and day after tomorrow I may be Christian. The faith may change, but whether he is a Hindu, he is a Muslim, he is a Christian, his husband, his wife, whatever he may be cat, dog, this quality of service, rendering service to others, is eternally present in every living entity. Therefore, Prabhupada tells that this quality of rendering service is actually the eternal religion of every living entity, which you cannot separate. Life after life, this particular quality will remain, right? So therefore, this is Sanatan Dharma. But what is its perfection? Its perfection is when we dovetail this tendency of service in Krishna, right? So Prabhupada explains that because Krishna is a reservoir of all pleasure, so when we dovetail this tendency in Krishna, who is a reservoir of all pleasure, then we also become happy, we also become full of pleasure. Therefore, Prabhupada tells that Sanatan Dharma, or the perfection of Sanatan Dharma, or the Sanatan Dharma means to render service unto the reservoir of pleasure, Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is what Prabhupada explains in the following paragraphs. Yes, so we'll complete this particular section first, and then we'll go to the spiritual world, right? Yes, Mataji, continue.
Yes. The Supreme Lord and his transcendental abode are both Sanatan, as are the living entities, and the combined association of the Supreme Lord and the living entities in the Sanatan abode is the perfection of human life. The Lord is very kind to the living entities because they are his sons. Lord Krishna declares in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Yonishu Aham Bija Pradapita. I am the father of all. Of course, there are all types of living entities according to their various karmas. But here the Lord claims that he is the father of all of them. Therefore, the Lord descends to reclaim all of these fallen conditioned souls, to call them back to the Sanatan eternal sky, so that the Sanatan beings, living entities, may regain their eternal Sanatan position in the eternal association of the Lord. The Lord comes himself in different incarnation, or he sends his confidential servants as a son or his associates or acharyas to reclaim the conditioned souls. Therefore, the Sanatan Dharma does not refer to any sectarian process of religion. It is the eternal function of the eternal living entities in the relationship with the eternal Supreme Lord. Sanatan Dharma refers, as stated previously, to the eternal occupation of the living entities. Sripad Ramanujacharya has explained the word Sanatan as that which has neither beginning nor end. So, when we speak of Sanatan Dharma, we must take it for granted on the authority for Sripad Ramanujacharya that he has neither beginning, it has neither beginning nor end. The English word religion is a little different from the Sanatan Dharma. Religion conveys the idea of faith, and faith may change. One may have faith in a particular process, and he may change this faith and adopt another. But the Sanatan Dharma refers to that activity which cannot be changed. For instance, liquidity cannot be taken from water, nor can be changed. Nor can be heat be taken from fire. Similarly, the eternal functions of eternal living entity cannot be taken from the living entity. Sanatan Dharma is eternally integral with the living entity. When we speak of Sanatan Dharma, therefore we must take it for granted on the authority of Sripad Ramanujacharya that it has neither beginning nor end. That which has neither end nor beginning must not be sectarian, for it cannot be limited by any boundaries. Those belongings to some sectarian faith will wrongly consider that Sanatan Dharma is also sectarian. But if we go deeply into the matter and consider it in the light of modern science, it is possible for us to see that Sanatan Dharma is the business of all the people of the world, nay, of all living entities of the universe. Non-Sanatan religion's faith may have some beginning in the annals of the human history, but there is no beginning to the history of the Sanatan Dharma because it remains eternally with the living entities. In so far as the living entities are concerned, the authoritative Shastra states that the living entities has neither birth nor death. In the Gita,
So here what Prabhupada is explaining is that the non-Sanatan religious faith are based on the body, because once the body changes, if he takes birth in a Hindu religion, then he will be called as a Hindu. If he takes birth in Muslim religion, he will be called as Muslim. So they are based on the body, and therefore they cannot be Sanatan, or they are not eternal, as Srila Ramanujacharya states that Sanatan means that which has neither beginning nor end. But then what is Sanatan Dharma? Sanatan Dharma is related to the living entity or related to the soul, in connection with the soul. Therefore, it neither has beginning nor end. That is what Prabhupada is explaining further here. Yes, Mantesh, continue.
In the Gita, it is stated that the living entity is never born and he never dies. He is eternal and indestructible, and he continues to live after the destructions of his temporary material body. In reference to the concept of Sanatan Dharma, we must try to understand the concept of religion from the Sanskrit root meaning of the word. Dharma refers to that which is constantly existing with a particular object. We conclude that there is heat and light along with the fire. Without heat and light, there is no meaning to the word fire. Similarly, we must discover the essential part of the living being, that part which is his constant companion. That constant companion is his eternal quality, and that eternal quality is his eternal religion.
Yes, so now in this paragraph, as we discussed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu telling that what is that quality? Now Prabhupada's last point has told that that constant companion is eternal quality, and that eternal quality is his eternal religion. So as I explained you, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells that the Swarupa or the constitutional position of the living entity is the rendering of service to the personality Godhead. And as I mentioned that A serves B, B serves C, C serves D. So this quality of service is that eternal quality which cannot be separated from a living entity. That is what Prabhupada explains in this particular paragraph. So since we discussed it in detail, so I'll just read the last lines. In this way, we can see that no living being is exempt from rendering service to other living beings, and therefore we can safely conclude that service is a constant companion of the living being, and that the rendering of service is the eternal release of the living being, right? So further in the next paragraph, Prabhupada tells that how this Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, they are actually non-Sanatan Dharma because it is connected to the body, right? And he tells that this religion, faith may change, therefore the religion may also change. But Prabhupada tells, but in all circumstances, the change of religious faith does not affect the eternal occupation of rendering service to others. If a Hindu changes to Christian, Christian changes to Muslim, still that quality, which Prabhupada explained in the previous paragraph, that the quality of service, rendering service, that will not change. The Hindu, Muslim, or Christian in all circumstances is servant of someone. Thus, to profess a particular type of faith is not to profess one's Sanatan Dharma. The rendering of service is Sanatan Dharma. Yes. Can you read this last paragraph, Mataji? This factually we are.
Yes, Prabhuji. Factually, we are related to the Supreme Lord in service. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Enjoyer, and the living entities are His servitors. We are created for His enjoyment, and if we participate in that eternal enjoyment with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we become happy. We cannot become happy otherwise. It is not possible to be happy independently. Just as no one part of the body can be happy without cooperating with the stomach, it is not possible for the living entity to be happy without rendering transcendental loving service unto the Supreme Lord.
Yes. So now Prabhupada further explains the worship of the demigods, right? And how Lord Krishna, even in Vrindavan, when Nanda Maharaj and all the cowherd men wanted to worship Indra, they were worshipping Indra every year, right? Indra Puja. How Lord Shri Krishna also condemned that and how he made them discontinue that. So that Prabhupada explains further. And then finally, Prabhupada comes to the next section, that is the spiritual abode of Golok Vrindavan. Yeah. So somebody else can read this 2 paragraphs that is remaining in this section about demigod worship. Any
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji?
can I read?
Yes. Yes, Mataji, can read.
Yes, Prabhuji. In the Bhagavad Gita, worship of different demigods or rendering service to them is not approved. It is stated in the 7th chapter, 28th verse, Kamas taiste rita jnana prapadyante anadevata tam niyamam asteya prakrutya niyata swaya. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Here it is plainly said that those who are directed by lust worship the demigods and not the Supreme Lord Krishna. When we mention the name Krishna, we do not refer to any sectarian name. Krishna means the highest pleasure, and it is confirmed that the Supreme Lord is the reservoir or the storehouse of all pleasure. We are all hankering after pleasure. Anandamaya Abhyasat. Vedanta Sutra 1.1.12. The living entities, like the Lord, are full of consciousness, and they are after happiness. The Lord is perpetually happy, and if the living entities associate with the Lord, cooperate with Him, and take part in His association, then they also become happy. The Lord descends to this mortal world to show his pastimes in Vrindavan, which are full of happiness. When Lord Shri Krishna was in Vrindavan, his activities with his cowherd boyfriends, with his damsel friends, with the other inhabitants of Vrindavan, and with the cows were all full of happiness. The total population of Vrindavan knew nothing but Krishna. But Lord Krishna even discouraged his father Nanda Maharaj from worshipping the demigod Indra because he wanted to establish the fact that people need not worship any demigod. They only need the Supreme Lord because their ultimate goal is to return to his abode.
Yeah.
The abode of love.
So here if you see, Krishna discouraged Nanda Maharaj from worshipping Indra, but Krishna did not discourage the worship of Katyayani by the Katyayani, worship of Mother Katyayani by the gopis. Somebody can tell why?
Prabhuji, maybe I think Katyayani is his only external energy now. I'm not sure.
But anyway, till it is we consider them as demigods.
Hare Krishna.
Indra is also demigod. Indra is also demigod, and we also consider. So he he discouraged the worship of what is that? Indra Puja, discouraged the worship of Indra Puja, whereas Katayini worship is not discouraged. Why?
Prabhuji, I think
that
their
is the
intention is to get Krishna, right? Gopis का जो intention था to get Krishna. And for Indra Puja, जो Brajvasis थे, उनका intentions था to pacify Indra, to get rains and all. That's why. Maybe intention की वजह से.
Yeah. Yes. Anybody else? Correct है? Anybody else? Abhishek, you raised your hand.
Yes, Prabhuji. Even I supposed to mention that what Mataji mentioned. That same points only, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So basically, Indra worship was condemned because there was no connection. They were not considering Indra in. They were not worshipping Indra in connection with Krishna. There. So therefore, Krishna wanted to discourage that. But because the gopis were worshipping Katayini Devi, ultimately to attain Krishna himself. So therefore, Krishna did not condemn that, or Krishna did not discourage that. But in this material world, now in this Kali Yuga, mostly people worship demigods for material benefits, as Prabhupada is telling in the Bhagavad Gita, or Krishna is telling, Kama is sesarita jnana prapadyante anyatevata. So, approaching a demigod, we are supposed to pay the due respect to demigods, like Ganesha, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, whoever may be there, right? We should not disrespect them, right? But we should not disrespect them, but in the meantime, we should not worship them independently, right? So best anyway, we are worshipping Krishna, right? So, but if we come across any temple of any demigod like Ganesha or like Mother Durga or Lord Shiva, right? We should pay our due respects, and what we can ask from them is that please give me pure devotion to Krishna, right? And whatever obstacles I have on the path of bhakti, please clear it off so that I can peacefully practice Krishna consciousness and in this life itself go back home, back to Godhead, right? So that this, because anyway they are merciful. Lord Ashutosh, Lord Shivji is told to be, is mentioned to be Ashutosh. So if Shivji, who is actually Vaishnava, if somebody comes to him for asking some material benefit, if he's ready to give that, so a Vaishnava like what is that? Who is the supreme Vaishnava like Lord Shiva? If we go to him and ask for pure devotional service, so he will surely give. Therefore, for at least for asking for pure devotional service, right? Whenever we come across any temple, or if we by chance we go to the temples of the demigods, then we can ask only for pure devotional service and for nothing else, right? Yes. So now we have completed this section wherein this thing, what is that? Sanatan Dharma is discussed, and finally Prabhupada concludes with the worship of the demigods. Now we will continue with the spiritual sky and Golok Vrindavan. Here in this section, Prabhupada explains the spiritual sky and the Golok Vrindavan. Natat Bhashede Suryo no Shashanko no Pavaka. That beyond this temporary material sky is the eternal spiritual sky, Sanatana Dharma, which is self-illumined by Brahma Jyoti without need of sun, moon, or fire. Prabhupada explains that in this material world, there is sun, moon, or fire, but Sanatan Dharma is that Dhamma wherein there is no need of sun, moon, or fire because it is lit up by Krishna himself. Within it, the supreme planet is Golok Vrindavan, the abode of Sri Krishna. So here, material planets including Brahma, Loka are all subject to birth, death, disease, and old age. One who reaches the spiritual sky never returns to the material world. The material world is described as an inverted reflection of the spiritual world, like a tree reflected in water appears upside down. The spiritual world is a reality, the material world is its shadow. Yeah, so this section, this is what is explained. So, a brief. So, continue Mataji here in this particular, this verse.
yes, yes. Prabhuji, come back.
Yeah, continue.
This verse gives a description of that eternal sky. Of course, we have a material conception of the sky and we think of it in relationship to the sun, moon, stars, and so on. But in this verse, the Lord states that in the eternal sky, there is no need for the sun, nor for the moon, nor electricity or fire of any kind, because the spiritual sky is already illuminated by the Brahma Jyoti, the rays emanating from the Supreme Lord. We are trying with difficulty to reach other planets, but it is not difficult to understand the abode of the Supreme Lord. So, this abode is referred to as Goloka. In the Brahma Samhita 5.37, it is beautifully described Goloka eva nivasati akhil atma bhuta. The Lord resides eternally in his abode, Goloka, yet he can be approached from this world, and to this end, the Lord comes to manifest his real form, Satchidananda Vigraha, BS 5.1. When he manifests this form, there is no need for our imagining what he looks like. To discourage such imaginative speculation, he descends and exhibits himself as he is, as Sham Sundar. Unfortunately, the less intelligent deride him because he comes as one of us and plays with us as human being. But because of this, we should not consider the Lord one of us. It is by his omnipotency that he presents himself in his real form before us and displays his pastimes, which are replicas of those pastimes found in his abode. In
Yeah,
the
so
effulgent
here,
rays.
here I remember one pastime that Prabhupada, and I heard in some of the lectures that consider that the those who have committed sin, those who have committed thefts, and those who have committed murders are put into jail, and there is a jailer, right? Basically, who is taking care of the jail, right? And sometimes, out of mercy, the prime minister or the prime minister or president doesn't have to go to the jail to see what is happening in the jail, right? Because he has anyway handed it over to the superintendent, the jailer. But sometimes, just out of mercy, to show mercy to the living entities, what the president or the prime minister does, he goes to the jail and wants to see what is happening there. Because in the president or the prime minister has the power that if any kaidi or any person who is there in the jail, if he tells to the, or if he basically writes a application to the president or the prime minister that whatever I have done great mistakes. So kindly, I understood what is my mistake. So now I want to repent it from it, and I already stayed in the jail for a long time. And I want to get liberated from here. So can you please release? And if the president tells that yes, he can be released, then that person will be released. So when the president goes inside the jail, it is the foolishness of the person who is, it is the foolishness of the prisoner that he thinks that he is also one of us. The president or the prime minister is also one of us. That will be his foolishness. Because if he pleases that particular prisoner, if he pleases that president or prime minister, and if he pleads that whatever I have done some mistake, and I realized that, and now I want to become free, then the president or the prime minister can release him. But not realizing that golden opportunity, if the prisoner thinks that he is also one of us and he offends him or does not pay the due respects, then what will happen is he'll remain eternally forever in the jail only, right? So similarly, Krishna is like that president who need not come to this material world, because Krishna is self-satisfied. He's with all his pure devotees in the spiritual world, right? He's self-satisfied. He doesn't have to come here, right? But out of his own mercy, Krishna descends to this material world, right? And the jailer here is Durga Devi, and he descends and he gives his darshan, he shows his pastimes. He basically displays mini Vrindavan, whatever Golok Vrindavan, whatever pastimes are happening in Golok Vrindavan, he displays a sample of that in the Bhauma Vrindavan for a period of some 100 years or 125 years to basically give an opportunity to the living entities who are suffering in this material world to understand that this is not their eternal home. They need to go back from Bhaktivedanta. But not understanding this golden opportunity, what the living entities of the material world think, that he is also one of us, and they offend him. And because of that, what happens is they have to perpetually suffer in this material world. Yeah, continue.
Yes, Prabhuji. In the effulgent rays of the spiritual sky, there are innumerable planets floating. The Brahmajyoti emanates from the supreme abode, Krishna Loka, and the Anandamaya, Chinmaya planets, which are not material, float in those rays. The Lord says, Na tad bhashyate suryo, na shashanko na pavaka, yad gatva na nivartante, tad dhama paramam mama. Bhagavad Gita 15.6. One who can approach that spiritual sky is not required to descend again to the material sky. In the material sky, even if we approach the highest planet Brahmaloka, what to speak of the moon, we will find the same conditions of life, namely birth, death, disease, and old age. No planet in the material universe is free from these four principles of material existence. The living entities are traveling from one planet to another. But it is not that we can go to any planet we like merely by a mechanical arrangement. If we desire to go to other planets, there is a process for going there. This is also mentioned. Yanti Deva Vrata Devan Prithvin Yanti Priti Vrata Pitruvrata. Bhagavad Gita 9.25. No mechanical arrangement is necessary if we want interplanetary travel. The Gita instructs Yanti Deva Vrita Devan. The moon, the sun, and the higher planets are called Svargaloka. There are three different statuses of planets: higher, middle, and lower planetary systems. The earth belongs to the middle planetary system. Bhagavad Gita informs us how to travel to the higher planetary systems, Devaloka, with a very simple formula. Yanti Deva Vrita Devan. One need only worship the particular demigod of that particular planet and in that way go to the moon, the sun, or any of the higher planetary systems.
Yes, so
Yet,
Prabhupada is mentioning here that no mechanical arrangement is necessary if we want interplanetary travel. So the scientists are trying to make mechanical arrangements to the moon or different planets like Mars or something like that. They are making a lot of expeditions. But since they are all Swargaloka planets, it's impossible to go to those planets in the self-same body, right? A particular type of pious activity or a different type of body is required, which that can happen by the change of body, right? We perform pious activities, we worship a particular demigod, and based on our desire and whether we deserve, right? So if somebody wants to go, then he can go to the Swargaloka planets in the next life, not by mechanical arrangement in this particular life itself. It is so Prabhupada tells that they're trying to cheat the common public, but that is not possible, right? Somebody else can continue further. Yet Bhagavad Gita.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, may I?
Yes, please.
Yet Bhagavad Gita does not advise us to go to any of the planet in this material world. Because even if we go to Brahmaloka, the highest planet, through some sort of mechanical contrivance, by maybe traveling for 40,000 years, and who would live that long? We will still find that material inconvenience of birth, death, disease, and old age. But one who wants to approach the supreme planet, Krishna Loka, or any other planet within the spiritual sky, will not meet with these material inconveniences. Amongst all the planets in the spiritual sky, there is one supreme planet called Goloka Vrindavan, the original planet in the abode of the original personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. All of this information is given in Bhagavad Gita, and we are given through its instruction, information, how to leave the material world and begin a truly blissful life in a spiritual sky.
Yes. So Prabhupada is now in the previous paragraph, Prabhupada is finally cutting that whatever the scientists are trying to do by going to the different planets, so much money they are spending is all a waste of time. Why? Because even the moon planet is below the highest planet, that is Brahmaloka. Even if we go to Brahmaloka, right? Consider you try to go to Brahmaloka by some mechanical arrangement, if you travel for 40,000 years, still it is useless because ultimately, right, as soon as the pious activities get over, we have to again come back to this material world, or we have to change the body. So why to unnecessary waste of time going to all the Swargaloka planets or to Brahmaloka? Why not take up this opportunity that Krishna has given us by reading Bhagavad Gita, by chanting Hare Krishna Mantra, by performing bhakti, and try to go to the supreme abode, that is Krishna Loka, because if we go there, we need not come back again here to this material world. So Prabhupada finally cuts all that useless endeavor of the scientists, or even the useless endeavor of the Agnihotris, or all these karmis who want to do different yajnas, pious activities, and want to go to the Swarga planets, Moon, right, Indra, Chandra, Varuna planets. So Prabhupada is cutting, a pure devotee cuts, Guru cuts through all the illusion and gives the real knowledge. Yeah, continue, Proji.
In the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the real picture of the material world is given. It is said there, Urdhvam Moolam Adha Shakham Ashvatham Prahur Avyayam Chandamsi Yasya Pranani Yes tam veda savit vedavit. Here, the material world is described as a tree whose roots are upwards and branches are below. We have experience of a tree whose roots are upwards. If one stands on the bank of a river or any reservoir of water, he can see that the trees reflected in the water are upside down. The branches go downwards and the roots upward. Similarly, this material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. The material world is but a shadow of of reality. In the shadow, there is no reality or substantiality, but from the shadow we can understand that there are substance and reality. In the desert, there is no water, but the mirage suggests that there is such a thing as water. In the material world, there is no water, there is no happiness, but the real water of actual happiness is there in the spiritual world. The Lord suggests that we attain the spiritual world in the following manner. Nirmana moha jita shanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandair vimuktaha sukha dukha samagye gachanti amudha padam avyayam tat. That, that Padam Avyayam or eternal kingdom can be reached by one who is Nirmana Moha. What does this mean? We are after designation. Someone wants to become Sir. Someone wants to become Lord. Someone wants to become the president or a rich man or a king or something else. As long as we are attached to these designations, we are attached to the body because designation belongs to the body, but we are not these bodies. And realizing this is the first stage in spiritual realization. We are associated with the three modes of material nature, but we must become detached through devotional service to the Lord. If we are not attached to the devotional service to the Lord, then we cannot become detached from the modes of material nature. Designations and attachments are due to our lust and desire, our wanting to load it over the material nature. As long as we do not give up these propensities of loading it over material nature, there is no possibility of returning to the kingdom of the Supreme, the Sanatana Dharma. The eternal kingdom, which is never destroyed, can be approached by one who is not bewildered by the attractions of false material enjoyment, who is situated in the service of the Supreme Lord. One so situated can easily approach the Supreme Abode. Elsewhere in the Gita 8.21, it is stated, Avyakto iti uktas tam ahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivratante tadhama paramam mama. Avyakta means unmanifested. Not even all of the material world is manifested before us. Our senses are so imperfect that we cannot even see all of the stars within this material universe. In the Vedic literature, we can receive much information about all the planets, and we can believe it or not believe it. All of the important planets are described in the Vedic literature, especially Srimad Bhagavatam. And the spiritual world, which is beyond this material sky, is described as avyakta, unmanifested. One should desire and hanker after that supreme kingdom. For when one attains that kingdom, he does not have to return to this material world. Next, one may raise the question of how one goes about approaching the abode of the Supreme Lord. Information of this is given in the 8th chapter. It is said there, Antikale cha mam eva smaranam muktava kalevaram ya prayati sa mad bhavam yati nasti atra samshayaha. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attain my nature. Of this there is no doubt. One who thinks of Krishna at the time of his death goes to Krishna. One must remember the form of Krishna. If he quits his body thinking of this form, he surely approaches the spiritual kingdom. Mat Bhavam refers to the supreme nature of the supreme being. The supreme being is Satchidananda Vigraha. That is, his form is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Our present body is not Satchitananda. It is Asat, not Sat. It is not eternal. It is perishable. It is not Chit, full of knowledge, but it is full of ignorance. We have no knowledge of the spiritual kingdom, nor do we even have perfect knowledge of this material world, where there are so many things unknown to us. The body is also Nirananda. Instead of being full of bliss, it is full of misery. All of these miseries we experience in this material world arise from the body, but one who leaves this body thinking of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at once attains a Satchit Anand body. The
Yeah.
process.
So Prabhupada has explained in the previous two paragraphs that how can we approach that, how can we attain that supreme abode by remembering Krishna, by remembering the form of Krishna while we live that body. And also by living this world, we have to become free from these designations, the upadhis that we are anchoring after. Yes, would you continue?
The process of quitting this body and getting another body in the material world is also organized. A man dies after it has been decided what form of body he will have in the next life. High authorities, not the living entity himself, make these decisions. According to our activities in this life, we either rise or sink. This life is a preparation for the next life. If we can prepare, therefore, in this life to get promotion to the kingdom of God, then surely after quitting this material body, we will attain a spiritual body just like the Lord's. As explained before, there are different kinds of transcendentalists, the Brahmavadi, Paramatmavadi, and the devotees. And as mentioned in the Brahma Jyoti spiritual sky, there are innumerable spiritual planets. The number of these planets is far, far greater than all of the planets of this material world. This material world has been approximated as only one quarter of the creation. Ekam sena sthito jagat. In this material segment, there are millions and billions of universe with trillions of planets and suns, stars and moons. But this whole material creation is only a fragment of the total creation. Most of the creation is in the spiritual sky. One who desires to merge into the existence of the Supreme Brahman is at once transferred to the Brahma Jyoti of the Supreme Lord and thus attains the spiritual sky. The devotee who wants to enjoy the association of the Lord enters into the Vaikuntha planets, which are innumerable, and the Supreme Lord, by his explanatory expansions as Narayana, with 4 hands and with different names like Pradyumna, Anirudh, and Govinda, associates with him there. Therefore, at the end of the life, the transcendentalists think either the Brahma Jyoti, the Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. In all cases, they enter into spiritual sky, but only the devotee or he who is in personal touch with the Supreme Lord enters into the Vaikuntha planets or the Goloka Vrindavan planet. The Lord further adds that of this there is no doubt. This must be believed firmly. We should not reject that which does not tally with our imagination. Our attitude should be that of Arjun. I believe everything that you have said. Therefore, when Lord says that at the time of death, whoever thinks of him as Brahman or Paramatma or the personality of Godhead certainly enters into the spiritual sky. There is no doubt about it. There is no question of disbelieving it. The
Yeah, so in this long paragraph, Prabhupada explains that there are three transcendentalists: Brahmavadi, Paramatmavadi, and the devotee. And uh, because they worship three different features of the Supreme Lord or realization of the Supreme Lord, therefore their destination also will be different. A Brahmavadi wants to merge into the Supreme Lord. A Paramatmavadi is after Siddhis, right? And the devotee, or he may attain a Vaikuntha planet, and the devotee attains the Supreme Personality, the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Yes, continue, Prabhuji. Yeah,
the
somebody else can continue. Yes, Sundar will prove.
The Bhagavad Gita 8.6 also explains the general principle that makes it possible to enter the spiritual kingdom simply by thinking of the Supreme at the time of death. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejanti ante kalevadam tam tam evati kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his present body, in the next life, he will attain to that state without fail. Now, first, we must understand that material nature is a display of one of the energies of the Supreme Lord. In the Vishnu Puran 6.7.61, the total energies of the Supreme Lord is delineated. Vishnu Shakti Pada Prokta Kshetra Gyanakya Tatha Pada Avidya Karma Samgyana Tritya Saktir Ishyate. The Supreme Lord has diverse and innumerable energies which are beyond our conception. However, great learned sages or liberated souls have studied that energies have analyzed them into three parts. All of the energies are of Vishnu Shakti. That is to say that they are different potencies of the Lord Vishnu. The first energy is Pada, transcendental. Living entities also belong to the supreme energy, as has already been explained. The other energies or material energies are the mode of ignorance. At the time of death, either we can remain in the inferior energy of the material world, or we can transfer to the energy of the spiritual world. So the Bhagavad Gita 8.6 says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejanti ante kalevadam tam tam evati konteya sada tad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his present body, in his next life he will attain to that state without fail. In life, we are accustomed to thinking either of the material world or the spiritual energy. Now, how can we transfer our thoughts from material energy to the spiritual energy? There are so many literatures which fill our thoughts with the material energy, newspaper, magazines, novel, etc. Our thinking, which is now absorbed in these literature, must be transformed to the Vedic literature. The great sages therefore have written so many Vedic literature, such as Puranas. The Puranas are not imaginative, they are historical records. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 2122, there is a following verse. Maya Mugda Jiveda Nahi Swata Krishna Jnana, Jiveda Kripa Kaila Krishna Veda Purana. The forgetful living entities or the conditioned souls have forgotten their relationship with the Supreme Lord, and they are engrossed in the thinking of material activities. Just to transfer their thinking power to the material, to the spiritual sky, Krishna Dvayapana Vyasa has given a great number of Vedic literatures. First, he divided the Vedas into four. Then he explained them in the Puranas. For less capable people, he wrote Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, there is given the Bhagavad Gita. Then all Vedic literature is summarized in the Vedanta Sutra, and for future guidance, he gave a natural commentation on Vedanta Sutra called Srimad Bhagavatam. We must always engage our minds in reading these Vedic literature, just as materialists engage their minds by reading newspaper, magazines, and so many materialistic literatures. We must transfer our reading to these literatures, which are given to us by Vyasadeva. In that way, it will be possible for us to remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death. That is the only way suggested by the Lord, and he guarantees the result. There is no doubt.
Yes, so Prabhupada is saying that if we want to attain the supreme abode, we should remember the Lord, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhava, whatever we remember at the time of death, that is what we will attain. So therefore, Prabhupada tells that we should remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death. But how is that possible? Prabhupada is saying that we must always engage our minds in reading these Vedic literatures and always engage our minds. But how? Just as materialists engage their minds in reading newspapers, you can see how a materialist is very anxious to read what is there in the newspaper. Ultimately, there is garbage only in that newspaper, but how he is so, just like a crow is attracted to the filthy stool or garbage of this material world. Therefore, the materialists are also very much engrossed in reading of the newspapers. But those who are swans, right? Those who are swans, their taste is different. They always want to engross their minds in the clear crystal lakes like the Manas lake. Therefore, similarly, those who are devotees of the Lord should not engage in reading newspapers, magazines, or so many materialistic literatures, which are actually like garbage. but actually they should engross our minds in reading Vedic literatures, and by that what will happen is it will be possible for us to remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death. And what Krishna is guaranteed that about this there is no doubt. If we engage, train our consciousness, train our mind, train our intelligence throughout our life in reading literatures and serving the Lord, chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then Krishna tells that there is no doubt about this. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manushvara yuddhacha mayi arpitamanuddir mame vaishishi asamshaya. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna at the time, and at the same time continue a prescribed duty of fighting. So we are constantly fighting this material world, we are constantly engaged in our prescribed duties, but along with that we should always try to remember the form of Krishna. And how that can happen? With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. But in this, for remembering Krishna, this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and reading of these Vedic literatures and association of devotees will surely help us while we are performing our activities to remember Krishna. Yes, Roji, continue. He does not advise.
He does not advise Arjuna simply to remember him and give up his occupation. No, the Lord never suggests anything impractical. In this material world, in order to maintain the body, one has to work. Human society is divided according to work into 4 divisions of social order: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. The Brahmana class or intelligent class is working in one way, the Kshatriya or administrative class is working in another way, and the mercantile class and the laborers are all tending to their specific duties. In the human societies, whether one is a laborer, merchant, administrator, or farmer, or even if one belongs to the highest class, is a literary man, a scientist, or a theologian, he has to work in order to maintain his existence. The Lord therefore tells Arjuna that he need not give up his occupation, but while he is engaged in his occupation, he should remember Krishna. Mam Anusmara. If he does not practice remembering Krishna while he is struggling for existence, then it will not be possible for him to remember Krishna at the time of death. Lord Chaitanya also advises this. He says, Kirtaniya Sadahari. One should practice chanting the names of Lord always. The names of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. So Lord Krishna's instruction to Arjuna is to remember me, and Lord Chaitanya's injunction to always chant the names of Lord Krishna are the same instruction. There is no difference because Krishna and Krishna's name are non-different. In the absolute status, there is no difference between reference and referent. Therefore, we have to practice remembering the Lord always 24 hours a day by chanting his names and molding our life activities in such a way that we can remember him always.
Yeah.
How
so,
is this possible?
So Prabhupada is explaining that Mam Anusmara Yuddhacha, where Krishna is telling Arjuna that while fighting, remember me. And what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu telling? Kirtaniya Sadahari, always chant the names of Lord Krishna. So Prabhupada is telling that we are in one of the varnas, either Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. So since we are in the material world, we cannot give up the prescribed duties, right? But also we have a responsibility that we have got this human form of life, so we should remember Krishna. So how is that possible? Prabhupada is telling that therefore we have to practice remembering the Lord always 24 hours a day by chanting his names and molding our life activities in such a way that we can remember him always. So therefore this is very important that we try to 24 hours a day try to chant his names and mold our life in such a way that we can remember him always. So Prabhupada is telling this. How is this possible? Somebody else can continue further. Yes,
Hare
please
Krishna
continue.
Prabhuji, can I?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
Mataji.
How is this possible? The acharyas give the following example. If a married woman is attached to another man, or if a man has an attachment for a woman other than his wife, then attachment is to be considered very strong. One such an attachment is always thinking of loved one. Wife who is of her lover is always thinking of meeting him, even while she is carrying out her household chores. In fact, she carries out her household work even more carefully so her husband will not suspect her attachment. Similarly, we should always remember the Supreme Lover, Sri Krishna, and at the same time perform our material duties very nicely. A strong sense of love is required here. If we have a strong sense of love for the Supreme Lord, then we can discharge our duty and at the same time remember him. But we have to develop that self love. Arjuna, for instance, was always thinking of Krishna. He was constant companion of Krishna, and at the same time he was a warrior. Krishna did not advise him to give up fighting and go to the forest to meditate. When Lord Krishna delineates the yoga system to Arjuna, Arjuna said the practice of this system is not possible for him. Arjuna Vacha, Yoyam Yam Yogastva Prokta Sameyena Madhusudana Etashyam Na Pashyami Chanchalavat Stiram. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Bhagavad Gita 6.33. But the Lord says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatte nintartam sarvad shraddhavan bhajante yomam sam me yuktatmo mata. Of all the yogis, one with great faith who always abides me, thinks of me within himself, renders transcendental loving service to me, is of the most is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. Bhagavad Gita 6.47. So one who thinks of Supreme Lord always is the greatest yogi, the supermost jnani, and the greatest devotee at the same time. The Lord further tells Arjuna that as Kshatriya he cannot give up his fighting. But if Arjuna fights remembering Krishna, then he will be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. But one must be completely surrendered in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. We work not with our body actually, but with our mind and intelligence. So if the intelligence and mind are always engaged in the thought of the Supreme Lord, then naturally the sense are also engaged in his service. Superficially, at least, the activities of the senses remain the same, but the consciousness is changed. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to absorb the mind and intelligence in the thought of the Lord. Such absorption will enable one to transfer himself to the kingdom of the Lord. If the mind is engaged in Krishna's service, then senses are automatically engaged in his service. This is the art, and this is also the secret of Bhagavad Gita. Total absorption in thought of Sri Krishna.
Yes.
Modern man has struggled
So
hard to
here,
reach the moon.
if you see that Prabhupada is saying that if the intelligence and mind are always engaged in thought of Supreme Lord, then naturally the senses are also engaged, because the body may be superficially engaged, but actually we are working through our mind and intelligence. So what is the art? Art is to engage the mind and intelligence service of Krishna. So how that is possible? That is possible. One thing is by the mercy of Guru, because without the mercy of Guru, this engaging mind, intelligence, and everything in the service of the Lord is very difficult. So at least whatever vows we have taken to Guru, that is chanting of 16 rounds. Prabhupada has given us some practical engagements, that is chanting of 16 rounds, following of 4 regulative principles, right? And engaging in some service, some service you should like in relation to Krishna. So we engage in that. So by this, what will happen? Gradually the mind and intelligence gradually they start liking these activities of Krishna consciousness. And once our mind and intelligence becomes fixed, then it will become natural, right, in whatever position we are, to remember Krishna. And that is how throughout the life, if we train, at the end of our life we will be able to remember Krishna at the time of death, right? So therefore training the mind and intelligence is very important, and that can happen under the shelter of Guru, right? So therefore following what Guru has told us, he has given us certain instructions, right? Following that, and Prabhupada also told, read my books regularly, follow the 4 regular principles, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra lovingly, right? So is very important. Yes. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, sir. Modern man has struggled to reach the moon, but he has not tried very have to elevate himself spiritually. If one has 50 years of life ahead of him, he should engage that brief time in cultivating this practice of remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This practice is devotional process. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishwaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Bhagavatam 7.5.23. These 9 processes of Shravanam, hearing the Bhagavad Gita from the realized person, will turn one to the thought of Supreme Being. This will lead to remembering the Supreme Lord and will enable one, upon leaving the body, to attain
a spiritual body which is just fit for the association with the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada is clearly mentioning here that the easiest of all these processes is Shravanam. It begins by hearing the Bhagavad Gita from the realized person. And what will happen by that? Shravanam converts into Kirtanam, Kirtanam converts into Vishnu Smaranam. So Vishnu Smaranam, that is what Prabhupada telling, that if we hear Bhagavad Gita from the realized person, that will turn one to the thought of the Supreme Being. So therefore, engaging in these 9 types of devotional service is very, very important, right? Of which Shravanam is very, very important, hearing from self-realized souls, right? Yeah. Somebody else can continue. The Lord further says,
Prabhuji, can I?
yeah, yes, Mataji.
The Lord further says, Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa ananyagamina param purusham divyam yati parthanuchintayam. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Arjuna, is sure to reach me. Bhagavad Gita 8.8. This is not a very difficult process. However, one must learn it from an experienced person. Tad vijnanartham sa gurum evabhigachet. Mundaka Upanishad 1.2.12. One must approach a person who is already in the practice. The mind is always flying to this and that, but one must practice concentrating the mind always on the form of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna or on the sound of his holy name. The mind is naturally restless, going hither and thither, but it can rest in the sound vibration of Krishna. One must thus meditate on the Param Purusham, the personality of Godhead, in the spiritual kingdom, the spiritual sky, and thus attain him. The ways and the means for the ultimate realization, ultimate attainment, are stated in the Bhagavad Gita, and the doors of this knowledge are open for everyone. No one is barred out. All the classes of men can approach Lord Shri Krishna by thinking of him, for hearing and thinking of him is possible for everyone. The
Yes.
Lord further
So
says,
Prabhupada is mentioning that this as the basis of our spiritual life. That is hearing the sound vibration of Krishna, chanting and hearing, right? So because this is Kali Yuga and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told only 2 things, that if you do 2 things, I will take you back to Godhead. That if you chant the holy name sincerely and you do not criticize others, do not offend others, only these 2 things if you do very nicely, that if you do not criticize others and if you just chant the holy name very sincerely, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells that you can attain the perfection of the life, right? So therefore, chanting of 16 rounds, not offending Vaishnavas, being in a service mood to serve the Vaishnavas, and following the 4 regulative principles, serving in our own capacity, trying to serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada or mission of our Guru, then what will happen is we can easily attain the kingdom of God. That is how Prabhupada winds up this particular section. Yes, we can. Yes, Mataji, continue further.
the Lord further says, Bhagavad Gita 9.32 and 33, Mami Partha Vyapashritya Ye Api Shuya Papa Yonoha Striyo Vaishya Tatha Shudras Te Api Yanti Param Gatim. Kim Punar Brahmana Punya Bhakt Rajarishya Tatha Anityam Asukham Lokam Imam Prapya Bhajasvamam. Thus the Lord says that even a merchant, a fallen woman, or a laborer, or even human beings in the lowest status of life can attain the supreme. One does not need highly developed intelligence. The point is that anyone who accepts the principle of Bhakti Yoga and accepts the Supreme Lord as Samam Bonam of life as the highest target, the ultimate goal, can approach the Lord in the spiritual sky. If one adopts the principles enunciated in the Bhagavad Gita, he can make his life perfect and make a permanent solution to all the problems of life. This is the sum and substance of the entire Bhagavad Gita.
Yes. So I was just listening today in morning. I was just listening to Srila Prabhupada. In that, Prabhupada was saying that what is the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram. Matlab, when we consider that we are chanting Hare Krishna mantra, but there is no feeling there. We are just chanting like a parrot. So Prabhupada was stressing on this point that, like here, Prabhupada is telling that anyone can actually attain to the supreme abode or can attain the supreme. He may be merchant, he may be fallen woman, laborer, or even human beings. Whatever status of life, that doesn't matter, but he can attain the supreme, right? One also doesn't require highly developed intelligence. What is required is the principle of Bhakti Yoga. And the core of principle of Bhakti Yoga is this affectionate feeling towards Sri Krishna. Prabhupada is saying that while we are offering, consider that we bring something to Lord and we want to offer it to him, right? So one can just mechanically bring the plate, consider that, oh, now I am a devotee, I have to offer this to Lord. I cannot eat bhoga, so I have to offer this to Lord and I have to eat. Okay, that is good that at least you are following the duty. But if you are giving something to the person, if you give it affectionately, then that person also, if you give it affectionately, the person also feels happy in receiving it. So similarly, understanding that I am giving it to my supreme master, my supreme lovable object, I am offering this. So with the feeling of love, Prabhupada tells that there is we chant mantras that is taught by our spiritual master, that taught by our superiors, that we should offer mantras. But Prabhupada tells that that if we have love, right, what is the main principle here is Prabhupada is saying that bhaktya patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Krishna is telling, Krishna is not mentioning anything there, right? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatatmana. If somebody with love offers me something, even it may be leaf, leaf, flower, water, or fruit, Krishna is saying, I will accept. There is Prabhupada tells that there is no mention of any mantras there. What is most important is bhaktya. So therefore, while you're offering to Krishna, we may chant the mantra of a guru, we may chant Namo Brahmanya Devaya. But what is the most important thing there is that not the mechanical rituals, but bhakti, right? So if we have to remember always this, that whenever you're offering to Krishna or whatever we are doing, we may be sitting in class, we may be hearing a class, we may be chanting the holy names, we may be taking his darshan, whatever devotional service, the 9 forms of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Prabhupada is telling that, Prabhupada was telling in the lecture that the most important thing is bhaktya, that we have to do it with love, not mechanically. And it is very difficult to again and again come to this point. Therefore, Shravanam is very, very important. Consider that every day we hear this point from Srila Prabhupada that bhaktya, that Krishna only wants our bhakti and he doesn't want anything else. Therefore, with simple devotion, if we offer, while we are chanting, we have to remember that Krishna is hearing us. So therefore, we should try to chant as nicely as possible, pronounce as nicely as possible, so that will please Krishna. So ultimately, whatever we do in our spiritual life, our main focus, main motto should be to please my spiritual master and please Krishna. And that is what will help us attain to the supreme abode. If we are doing with that affection, if we are doing with that love for Krishna, then already we have attained the spiritual world, because Krishna will be there here when we are doing it with love to accept that particular, because Krishna is telling that bhaktya, if somebody offers to me with love, then I am ready to accept that. Therefore, we have to understand that we should never forget that we should never become mechanical in our life, right? Yes, continue, Mataji.
Yes, Master. In conclusion, Bhagavad Gita is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully. Gita Shastram idam punyam yah patet prayatatmana prayatapumam. If one properly follows the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, one can be freed from all miseries and anxieties in this life, and one's next life will be spiritual. Vishnu padam avapnoti bhaya shokadi virjita. Gita Mahatmya 1. There is also a further advantage. गीता ध्यानशीलस्य प्राणमय प्रयासयोज नैव शान्तिः पापनि पूर्वजन्म कृतानि च. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of not act upon him. Gita Mahatmya 2. The Lord says very loudly in the last portion of the Bhagavad Gita 18.66, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma sucha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Thus the Lord takes all responsibility for one who surrenders unto him, and he indemnifies such a person against all the reactions of sins. Mal nirmochanam pumsam jala snanam dine dine sakrit gitamrita snanam samsara mala nashanam. One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water, but if one takes a bath once in the sacred Ganges, water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. Gita Mahatmya 3. गीता गीता कर्तव्य किम अन्य शास्त्र विस्तरिः यस्वयं पद्माभाष्य मुख padmad vinashrita. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, people are so absorbed in mundane activities that it is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literatures. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Gita Mahatmya 4. As it is said, Bharat भरतामृत सर्वासां विष्णुवक्त्रविनिश्रुतं गीता गंगोदकं पीत्वा पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते. One who drinks the water of Ganges attains salvation. So what to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is the essential nectar of Mahabharata, and it is spoken by the Lord Krishna himself and the original Vishnu. Gita Mahatmya 5. Bhagavad Gita comes from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Ganges is said to emanate from the lotus feet of the Lord. Of course, there is no difference between the mouth and the feet of the Supreme Lord, but from an impartial study, we can appreciate that Bhagavad Gita is even more important than the water of Ganges. Sarva सर्व उपनिषदो गव दोग्ध गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर भोक्ता दुग्धम गीतामृतम महत्. This Gita-upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all Upanishads, is just like a cow, and Lord Krishna, who is famous as a cowherd boy, is milking this cow. Arjuna is just like a calf, and learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectarian milk of the Bhagavad Gita. Gita Mahatmya 6. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam, Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva, Eko Mantras Tasya Namni Yani, Karma Pi Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva. Gita Mahatmya 7. In this present day, people are very much eager to have one scripture, one God, one religion, and one occupation. Therefore, Ekam Shastra Devaki Putra Geetam. Let there be one scripture only, one common scripture for the whole world, Bhagavad Gita. Eko Deva Devaki Putra Eva. Let there be one God for the whole world, Shri Krishna. Eko Mantras Tasya Namnani. And one hymn, one mantra, one prayer, the chanting of his name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Karmapi ekam tasya devasya seva. And let there be one work only, the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes. So beautifully Prabhupada has ended this introduction to the Bhagavad Gita by stating these slokas from Gita Mahatmya, that how but just by reading Gita one can perfect his life, one can become free from all sinful activities, right? Just by surrendering one's life to Krishna, right? How one can become free from all mala nirmochana pumsam. By coming in touch with Ganges, one becomes free. One can become free from this material world. So by reading of Gita also, one can attain the spiritual world, right? So therefore, it is so important to very nicely read this Gita, and we are getting an opportunity to study this Bhagavad Gita. We have completed the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. So from the next class, we'll start with first chapter. And before that, if you can just go through the preface. In the preface, Prabhupada has given what is that? Basically, how this stage was created for the Bhagavad Gita to be spoken is basically mentioned in the preface. First preface comes, then the introduction, and then we come to this first chapter. So please, before coming to the next class, that is on next Saturday, please read the preface, and you can come so that you have a overview, broad view of how this Bhagavad Gita is being spoken in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Yes, Mataji, you have some question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in the class you said that Prabhupada said that if you chant and if you don't do Vaishnava Ninda, then I'll take you back home, back to Godhead.
Not
So
Prabhupada,
sometimes,
not Prabhupada, Chaitanya
okay,
Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
okay, yes, sorry, Prabhuji. So if like when we are working, when we are doing like seva with devotees, so sometimes it happens that some things we don't like, and then we go and tell to just one devotee, like our closest friend. So is that also considered as Vaishnava Ninda, or sometimes we go and tell seniors that okay, this is happening, or I don't like this way, or this is going wrong. So is that Vaishnava Ninda?
So basically, Vaishnav Ninda comes by with what intention we are doing a particular activity. So if we are speaking ill about a devotee, if consider that if by some devotee's activities I am very hurt and somehow I am not comfortable, and I want to clarify my intentions, or I want to understand why that particular devotee is behaving like that, with a view to understand the situation better, right? Then that may not be considered Vaishnava Ninda. But consider that I am going to different devotees and I'm speaking ill about a devotee with a desire to pull that devotee's character down, or to bring defamation to that particular devotee, then that will be considered Vaishnava Ninda, right? So in any case, we cannot go to anyone and everyone speaking about a devotee. Basically, it is best to go to some superior who is superior to both of us and ask for clarification. Because consider that you go to some person who is also on a same level. That devotee or that particular person may not be liking that devotee. So when you go and speak this particular thing about this devotee to that devotee, and what he will do, it will be like already there is some burning feeling inside him about that devotee. So if you go and speak to him something to him against that devotee, then what will happen is he may tell more things about that devotee, which will further spoil our consciousness. So better to go to a devotee who is in proper consciousness, situated in proper consciousness, who is a very good devotee, and try to ask for clarifications. So asking for clarifications is okay, but to speak ill about a devotee with a motive, with a jealousy in our heart, or with a motive to bring defamation to him, that will be very, very injurious to our spiritual life. Is this clear, Mataji? So in essence,
Yes,
better.
Prabhuji. So like,
Yes, Mataji,
so
ask.
like if we are So like if we are working in a group of devotees and if we don't like activity of some devotee, which is actually breaking the four regulative principles. So if we can go and if we tell other devotees so that we can collectively go and tell the HOD, or like, so is that also Vaishnava Ninda, or is that fine?
No, to basically help another devotee, if we want to, as I told you, whatever we are doing for another devotee, it should not be with the motive to bring him down, or it should not be with the motive of what is that, jealousy, or it should not be with the motive of envy in our heart, right? Even though you may be seeing that he's falling down or he is breaking some four regulative principles, but I have to first of all question whether I'm doing this with envy in my heart. Yes, he is nicely falling because he has enmity with me, therefore he's falling down now, and now I'll try to help him. So this is not good, right? You're trying to help him not with the envy, or not with jealousy, or not with pride in your heart, but you're trying to help him with a sincere desire that, oh, this devotee, this path of bhakti is so precious, this path of bhakti is so important, and this devotee is not able to take care of that. So with that desire, I'm trying to help that devotee, and I go to some senior and tell that with a sincere feeling to help that devotee. Is this clear, Mataji? So ultimately, the
Yes.
guiding principle is envy should not be there in our heart. If envy is, because most of the times when we see another devotee falling down, or we see another devotee not practicing very sincerely, not coming to the expectation, generally we become happy, or it will be with pride, or it will be with jealousy, right? So if this is there, then that Krishna will not like, right? So, and being conditioned souls, this will be there. So we should understand this whenever it comes and try to rectify that also.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Purushottam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Look, I have a doubt, practical. It's practical. When you offer boga to Lord, so if you are not initiated yet, but your parents are initiated, can we use the mantra which to they got initiated to which Maras? Can we use that, or we should not use that?
Basically, you must be aspiring from some spiritual master, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
So you can generally first we chant the mantra of our spiritual master, Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhana Swami Nitinamini, or Srimati Gopal Krishna Nitinamini, or Srimati Lokanath Swami Nitinamini. So that mantra, even though we may not be initiated, but we are aspiring, right? So initiation, one thing is the formal initiation, but Prabhupada tells that as soon as within your heart you accept the spiritual master as your spiritual master, right? And you accept him in your heart that he is my spiritual master, and you follow his instructions, you regularly hear from him. So then that is the point you already become his disciple, right? Because if you see in our spiritual disciple succession also, there is Prabhupada and there is Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, and then there is, after that, there is Srila Gaur Gishodas Babaji Maharaj. So this is a disciplic succession. There is initiation happened. But after Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, there is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj is not a actual disciple of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So our line is the line of Siksha, right? So as soon as we start accepting Siksha from someone, he becomes our spiritual master. So there is something called as Diksha line and Siksha line. So as soon as in our heart we accept the spiritual master, that day we become his disciple. So therefore we can chant his mantra even while we chant our rounds, even while we offer. So first we chant the mantra of our spiritual master, then Prabhupada, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Krishna's Namo Brahmanya Devaya Brahmanya. So we can do that. That is not an issue.
Fine, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Yes, anybody has any further questions? Or we'll end here, and in the next class, we'll start with Bhagavad Gita chapter 1.
Hare Krishna, bro.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, next Saturday, Sunday, we will have class or what?
Next Saturday, Sunday is what?
Because Rath Yatra.
Yeah. So when is Rath Yatra? We have here Sunday. On Sunday we have Rath Yatra. Saturday also some Rath Yatras will be there, I think. What devotees suggest? What we should do? Because Sunday anyway I will not be there because there is Rath Yatra here in Pune. So I think in different centers also there will be Rath Yatras, most probably.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So then most probably in next Saturday, Sunday we will not. Anyway, there is a logical ending. We have ended this thing. So there is a logical ending here now. So we can continue further on 25th and 26th. We will not have it on next Saturday, Sunday. Is this okay?
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry, one question I have.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, when we are in the association in the devotees, we follow that we should not talk about others. We keep our good consciousness. But as soon as we go into the relatives, there are some clashes with brothers and all about farming and everything. That time our consciousness gets disturbed, and we totally forget that we should not be envious. We should not talk hardly. We should not speak like someone gets hurted. So in those situations, how we can handle, as they are not devotees as well, means our relatives, but still
Yeah.
means when we are not in front of them, we feel that we should not hurt them. But as soon as they come in our front, we forget everything.
Yeah. So one thing we should understand that we are still conditioned. So all this thing, whatever is there in the heart, whatever contamination is there in the heart, it's like this. Consider there is sponge, right? You put it in water, it absorbs water, and as soon as you press it, what happens? Water comes out. Correct, no?
Yes.
So now, because in our heart, this kama, krodha, moha, mada, matsara, all these things are still residing, and it will be there till we leave this body, right? So as soon as we come in a pressing situation, in some pressure, or somebody insults us, somebody doesn't behave the way that we want, what happens? We are pressed, and whatever is in the heart comes out. So this is natural. This is not something that happens only with you. That happens with me. This happens with everyone in this material world, as long as it is not a pure devotee. So one thing is we should be patient with ourselves, right? So more we should take association of devotees. We should try to be always in the association of devotees, so that always our divine qualities are manifested, and we should slowly reduce the association of non-devotees, so that if we go there, our demonic qualities will come out, and as soon as we come in the association of devotees, our divine qualities will come out, right? So one thing is this: always increase the association of devotees, so that divine qualities also will increase. Second, pray to Krishna that whenever such, you know that now I am going in that, because it's unavoidable now, because we are grahasthas, right? Consider he is a brahmachari or a sannyasi. He may what is that? He may choose whether to go or not to go, right? Because he is not what is that? He is not bound, right? But because we are grahasthas, we are supposed to spend time with the relatives, so that we can give them an opportunity, so that they can also become devotees. They can understand that, oh, how he was before, and now after coming to Krishna consciousness, how he is very wonderful Vaishnava. So slowly they also become attracted. So to give them an opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness or become attracted to Krishna, we can go there. But we should always pray that if I go there, obviously some of my bad qualities will be manifesting, which may not be good for me, and which may not be good for them to come into Krishna consciousness. So therefore, we can pray to Krishna that please kindly protect me, so that my what is that? I can exhibit some divine qualities there, so that they can be attracted. So we can pray, and also we can sincerely try to chant before we go there, before we go in that particular association, chant more rounds, so that Krishna can help us, right? So some practical steps we can take, but we should also understand that this will not immediately finish. Just like Prabhupada gives an example of fan, right? So fan is rotating. As soon as you switch off the fan, it's not that immediately it will stop. For some second, it will keep on rotating. So whatever bad qualities will have, even though we are practicing bhakti, it will not immediately stop, right? So we should slowly, it will stop slowly, it will take some time. And in the meantime, when you are taking bath in the shower, you're getting cleansed. So what Prabhupada tells is we should not take an elephant bath. Again, go and take a dip in the gutter. Or so while we are practicing Krishna consciousness, getting purified, we should not increase the impurities, right? And increasing the impurities means breaking four regulative principles, or whatever this, all Prabhupada has given us certain principles, right? If we do this very nicely, now what happens is we will slowly come to the mode of goodness. As I was explaining yesterday also, Sattva guna, if we come, what will happen is the base qualities of ignorance and passion, which is fighting, quarreling, backmongering, criticizing, these are all qualities in the modes of ignorance and passion, right? When the one in the mode of goodness is satisfied, so he cannot be distracted from that satisfaction. Therefore, our main principle should be that we come to the mode of goodness. So if we come to the mode of goodness, automatically all these base qualities that we are exhibiting will slowly reduce. Is this clear, Proji?
Yes, Roji. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Roji.
Please
Hare
accept my humble obeisance and to your lotus feet. Prabhu, I just had one question regarding the sloka exam. Like for Bhagavad Gita, there for the first chapter 1 to chapter 6, it's like 12 shlokas.
Yes.
So when there will be shloka exam, so the first unit shloka exam, we'll have to say the entire 12 shlokas?
Yes, all 12 slokas. 12 slokas is not very big thing. It is, you have 6, almost like you can consider 6, almost at least 5 months, right? So your exam will happen after December. So you are expected to be much more, maybe not at least the Bhagavad Gita, entire Bhagavad Gita, but at least 108 slokas of the entire Bhagavad Gita, right? So 12 slokas is not much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks a lot.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. We'll meet on next class will be on 25th. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.